Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Geekscape Games. This is Geekscape Games Extra because we don't have the entire crew here, but we do have part of the crew and an additional member of the crew that you guys may have heard before. We make numerous references to him in our podcast, the Geekscape Games Show, that you can hear on SoundCloud and on the Geekscape.net mother site. Carlos Lopez from Angry Bananas Fames is here with us today.
Hey, what's up? Yes, I do love Tumba. Lay off.
That's every time. It's Tomba is now synonymous with you. And if you guys have listened to the latest episode of the Geekscape Game Podcast, number 61, the question of the week for next time is, with my daughter's impending arrival, what gaming-related name should I bestow upon her? And Derek Cranevelt lovingly said, if it were a son, you should just name your son Tomba. And he said sense. I should even drop the last name and just go Tomba. Not even Tomba Marquez, just Tomba.
Yeah, and then just drop him off in the jungle and see what happens.
But I know I smile because I know Carlos would approve of that.
I would bring so many pig plushies you wouldn't know. She wouldn't even know what to do with them. Or you.
Oh, I would find a way to do it. But the whole purpose of the Geekscape Games Extra is, me and Josh are, we are particularly big fans of the fighting game genre. I grew up playing, all the fighting games in the arcade that I had right across the street in D&M Video. And when 7-Eleven, if you guys remember back in the day, actually had arcade cabinets in their store.
Good times.
I don't even know if I remember that. My local arcade was the Laundromat.
Oh, with the Neo Geo machine, right? And the Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do with these little Geekscape Games Extra, that's going to be a tongue twister down the road.
Yeah.
Is to take one news story that we covered on the site or on the show and bring in our resident fighting game expert, Carlos Lopez, to talk about it. Now, for those of you who are relatively new to Geekscape.net or new to the show, me, Josh, and Carlos have a long history together that goes all the way back to like 2006. So we've known each other for close to like 10 years now.
I think so.
Insane.
Yeah. It's pretty insane.
So, Carlos, can you give the listeners kind of a background of what you do and where you've been and what you've because you've done a lot for the fighting game community in the last couple of years.
Yeah. So we run a production company. We also run a YouTube video kind of thing on YouTube. Whatever, it's small. It's not that big, but we started off doing some tournaments here in Southern California. We do GTL, Underground Tournament League, and we started doing so many of those. I think I lost count. We moved on and we started doing other tournaments as well. We started doing our own tournaments off our friend's house. We started doing Street Fighter 4, Super Smash Brothers at the time, and I think Guilty Gear, if I'm correct. Man, it's been so long. And Marvel's Capcom 2. I think that was probably the ones. And I grew up, hanging out with like Ross, Alex Riot, everybody before what they are now, which is crazy because seeing those guys where they're at now and what we've done as well together, it's been nuts. But I moved away from fighting game and started doing more in-game gaming events for indie devs and all that fun stuff, So we don't have an outlet for that. So I just said, hey, why not just make an art space the space to be, so you can try all these cool indie game stuff for free and not have to pay anything or anybody.
Well, I'm really glad you're joining us, and hopefully we can make this a regular thing down the road.
We have to.
Absolutely, especially with so many new fighting games coming out. We have Street Fighter 5 weeks away, but
right around the corner.
Right after that, we have a game that was rumored and we thought there was no way in hell it's going to happen, but lo and behold, it's a reality, and we've known about it since last year. And now in about 2 months, we're going to see Pokken Tournament. Or is it Pokken or Pokken? How do you pronounce it?
I say Pokken. To me, it sounds better.
Yeah, no, I say Pokken, but we'll see what they say in the title screen.
That's true.
So we had the news earlier this week, and Josh, I think you wrote the story, right? With the 3 additional new characters that were announced?
No, one of our newer writers, Matt Rodriguez, posted that one. But I've been following it pretty closely as well. And as a matter of fact, I think they announced one more today on top of the 3 we talked about yesterday.
Another one?
Yeah, so yesterday we were discussing that they added Garchomp, what was it? It was Garchomp, regular Mewtwo outside of the already announced Shadow Mewtwo, who I think is the final boss. And then the surprising one was Braixen, which is the first like mid-evolution Pokemon to be added to the game as a playable character. But in addition, today they announced that in addition to a release date, that Chandelure is going to be a playable character.
Interesting.
Which is also, yeah, it's especially interesting because Chandelure is a floating chandelier. It has no arms or legs or feet, anything that you would associate with a fighting game. So I'm kind of liking that they're getting more and more kind of out of the box with the selections that they're making for the additional roster that they're adding to the console version.
So Lamps Plus is in the mix?
Pretty much. Like we still don't have Vanillux as a fighter. So I'm still counting the days until that comes around.
It has to happen.
Day one
soon.
DLC.
Yeah, it has to happen.
So Carlos, of the new of the tournament the Pokken Tournament fighters, which one catches your attention?
I'm leaning toward. Oh, it's so tough, but I'm feeling more Lazy King, just because his setups look pretty good. He's a very flashy character, and I like flashy characters. I love characters that remind me of Ken. So Lazy King is right up my alley. He seems like a very balanced character, but I can tell that Gengar is kind of crawling up to my top first. I saw Justin Wong not that long ago play a little bit of Gengar, and it was crazy how he played Gengar. So shout out to Justin Wong. I think he already figured out how this game's gonna work. But it's exciting because seeing characters that we normally wouldn't see, kind of in a sense, of fighting game, and having Namco Bandai kind of back that up and just go, we'll make this like a legit fighter. Like it won't be, like a copy and paste thing. So I'm excited. I really want to try Gengar. He looks super OP, so I'm super down for that.
Josh, I don't know if you got into detail on the show that we recorded this week, but is there a fighter that you're particularly looking forward to main?
Only because it's one of my favorite Pokemon, period, and not just for the fighting game. And this is gonna sound lame because it's essentially saying that like Ryu's my main character, but I have to go with Lucario in this case.
Yeah,
like he's been one of my favorites since he debuted back in Diamond and Pearl, and I've stuck with him in various versions of every Pokemon game, and I'm looking forward to bringing that into the actual fighting game. But with that said, Chandelure sounds really interesting because, like I said, how are you supposed to play a fighting game with a chandelier? It's a first, if nothing else.
That's so weird having a chandelier to fight. But hey, you know what? Pokken, when Pokken comes out, logic's thrown out the window, guys.
Hey, I mean, chandeliers were one of my biggest enemies back when I would play beat 'em ups, and they'd just fall on me and drain half my health.
See?
So if it worked in Streets of Rage, I can't. Why not Pokken?
If anything, he looks like more of a spacing character. He might be a kind of character that overpowers when there's too much space in between your other opponents. So it might work out. I'm feeling it.
But while we're on the subject of the roster, why isn't Hawlucha in yet?
Maybe he's the last character in there. Maybe something tells me he might
an unlockable or something.
Unlockable. He has to be like the Zangief, right? Either him or Machamp or Machop.
I feel like they made Hawlucha just to be in a fighting game, and instead they just put Lucha Pikachu instead.
I know, that would have been great though. I guess next time.
Still time, Nintendo.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that, along with the new characters, they got into detail about how multiplayer would work in this game. So there's one that really kind of makes me want to applaud Nintendo, and one that kind of makes me want to cock an eyebrow. But during the pre-show, though, Carlos made an interesting point, and I'll let him get into it. But they said they were going to allow LAN abilities for Pokken Tournament. So in other words, you can hook up two Wii U's for tournament play and give each individual player their own TV. Now, Carlos, can you get into detail why that is a good thing? While it may seem cumbersome for the casuals to listen, like, oh, why can't we just play on the same TV? Mm-hmm. You made a really good point, and something that's already been happening in tournament play by giving players their independent sets.
Of course. So something me and Juan talked about right before the show, which was a video went up about 3 weeks ago, and it was called Should Competitions Have Separate TVs? And I was mostly talking about the fighting game community in the sense of Street Fighter. So recently, Capcom Cup, of course, happened at the Sony conference. I think it's the PlayStation conference. I forgot what to call it. PlayStation Con, whatever. They had separate TVs. So usually in tournaments, you would have the two opponents fight each other in one TV. But this time around, Capcom decided, hey, you know what? We're gonna switch that around. We're gonna actually separate the opponents from each other from one TV and have them fight each other on separate TVs. And the only reason why people are a little bit skeptical or you know, a little bit reserved about that is because it is different. It is totally different for a lot of other popular games. Dota games, exactly, separate TVs. Everything's competition, always has separate TVs. And so the big main factor about that was that it gives your opponent, if you're in the same TV, eventually you're able to kind of feel what kind of input they're putting. So you can check out like Daigo videos. He's always putting his headsets on. A good example of him trying to block the fact that he can hear his opponents typing their inputs, which is pretty easy. I mean, you can tell when someone's either in a rush or they're trying to really mess around with you, or you can tell when someone's trying to do a shoryuken to you know, to force cancel. You know, it's just those things that they eventually could read. And so I think this is what they're trying to do, is avoid the fact, since Pokken has a very simplistic control scheme and very easy controls, they're trying to go ahead and give the players a one-up, so keeping them separate, keeping for them to read any of their inputs completely away from both of them, and it makes it a little bit more competitive if you think about it. I mean, it's almost like any other game that you play online. You know, you play Black Ops, but you're not seeing what people are inputting. You're just actually just playing. So I think that's a really big factor, and I think people might not like it in the beginning. They might not enjoy it. I think for myself, if Nintendo wants to get into this market of the fighting game community and make it out there for Evo as they did last year, they're gonna cut that and not really listen and just keep to their guns and make it as popular as possible.
Yeah, because the game itself, it seems to have that unique, and I saw some of that video during that invitational tournament they had late last year. It has like a complete like 360 sumo area.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to demand that each player has their own over-the-shoulder view. Like, yes. It would be very difficult to have, you know, kind of like Naruto Shippuden, where because it does get kind of disoriented. Like if you're over the shoulder or if you're looking at the character's face, like all of a sudden your controls become a little bit reversed, and putting inputs might be kind of disorienting.
True. In a sense, for streaming wise, I could see it working a lot better. A lot of people are, like I said, people are going to be reserved about this. You know, it's going to be a little bit different. It's not like Smash Brothers where everybody's seeing each other play on one screen.
Right.
This is, you know, and don't get me wrong. So let's not get started on the whole is Smash, you know, fighting game. I think it is a fighting game, but in a sense, this is a little bit different. This is a little bit more, you know, now we're getting into the aspect of Tekken. So there's a lot of Tekken players who really want to take advantage. They already know how pretty much the just kind of all the hitboxes are at already. They can, by just looking at it, they already know kind of what makes each Pokemon fighter stronger or weaker from the other ones. They already have the advantage, so I think that's what they're trying to do. It's just trying to make it even played out for everybody.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you guys noticed, but Pikachu, like standard Pikachu, not Lucha, has a bunch of Heihachi's moveset too. Which is really, really weird.
Yep, it is. And I know Namco is really pushing to make this a really legit fighting game, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see extra DLC characters in the future as well. If things go the way it's right now, I think Pokken has a good chance. Uncharted just got pushed back. I think it's a clear month for them. If they could win this over, it might be a good thing for Pokemon. I mean, for the Pokemon Company, Nintendo, and Namco to continue working in the future.
For sure. Plus, over the last couple of months, we've been getting quite a few character reveals, so I have a feeling that we're far from done with who's going to be in the final roster, even before DLC is taken into account.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you this, a bunch of my students where I teach are very excited for Pokken. And these are people, and I think this is a good game that's going to bridge the Pokemon fans into that fighting genre. Like for a lot of people, it's going to be like their real first fighting game that they're going to devote a lot of time to actually be really good at, other than Smash Brothers. And with Street Fighter V and Pokken coming out within a month of each other, it's going to be very interesting to see, because Street Fighter V is going to sell no matter what.
Yes.
But to have Pokken come out a month after, it seems like a nice alternative because there are a lot of fighting games that are very similar. Like for me, like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, they have that same feel, like the over the top anime fighter. But I don't know how different you can get from Pokken to Street Fighter V.
Yeah, like we said, right now we are the only people that have actually got to play the games in Japan. A couple of demos on a couple of fighting game competitions, and of course, right now we only scratched the surface. I'm quite sure there's plenty more that we're gonna learn. A lot of setups, a lot of bounces, a lot of things we're gonna have to either take a grasp on in Tekken and use it onto Pokken. So I see a lot of potential with Pokken becoming probably like the next, if not, is gonna be right behind Smash Brothers as far as a very competitive kind of game.
Yeah, so with a month to go for Street Fighter V, and then 2 months from Pokken, and then we're gonna hit Evo season. It's gonna be here and real soon. I mean, these months fly by. But is there anything like going into these two fighting games as we're winding down to the last couple minutes? What are you particularly looking forward to, hoping to see from Pokken that that hasn't been announced yet? That's kind of like your one dream character or one feature that you wish this game comes with, and when the March 18th drop date comes.
Halucha, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee.
Those three.
The rest, the rest, I can care less about what the rest could be. They could put Trubbish in for all I care. Just give me Halucha and give me Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee.
I want to see as a probably something they haven't revealed. I really want to see how their multiplayer is going to be implemented online, how the ranking system is going to work. I kind of want to see whether we're going to have kind of like a trainer depending on the rankings. Also, I would like to see more of a kind of an achievement kind of thing. Maybe they'll give you some badges, because they haven't really talked about if you earn any badges whatsoever, which would be kind of cool if you kind of do earn some kind of badges to kind of pimp out your screen name during online play. That'd be great as well. So I really want to see more of the multiplayer aspect. I really want to see what kind of implementations, if they're doing any tournament stuff. I know a while back Smash Brothers had plans to do a tournament, if not bracket system, which never got implemented due to time limits and Sakurai really just being tired. And so I really want to see what this is going to bring out to Pokken. I really want to see what the multiplayer might be, the features, everything.
Mine is not that technical. It's just for the whole aesthetic. I want the ability, because I love Tekken Tag Tournament for Wii U. I absolutely think that's such a great fighting game, simply because the customization that they allow players to have is insane. Like there's like almost an unlimited way you can like make each character your own. You can even draw your own logos on jackets. You might give them tattoos. So if I can customize my Pikachu, like kind of like with those dolls that come out, like Rockstar Pikachu and Postman Pikachu, I want that.
Okay.
I think that would be dope.
Your dog even agrees too. I heard it.
Yeah. So he wants it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, this wraps up pretty much the first ever Geekscape Games Extra, where we're gonna come up with a better name than that, but this is gonna be. We're gonna take stuff, especially from the fighting game genre or anything from video games that we really want to devote extra time with, and we're gonna try to get Carlos as a regular on this show.
Yep, always down.
A damn straight. So. Look, if you have any questions, anything you want us to cover specifically with Pokken, Street Fighter V, hell, Smash Brothers, with Evo season coming up pretty soon, and I think right now Genesis is taking place.
Yep.
So this is the place to be. So guys, thank you very much for listening. And Carlos, Josh, you have anything to say?
I hate to break it to you guys, but I'm skipping Street Fighter V.
What?
Because... No, listen, I have a really good reason for this, because Gravity Rush HD and Mega Dimension Neptunia come out in the same day. So I gotta get my priorities straight.
Yeah.
I might stick with Pokken. I might be balancing a lot of games because Dark Souls 3 is coming out, so I'm sorry guys.
So thanks for joining the first and last episode. No, but we'll do that. We'll just, we'll just make a thing where we, whatever game comes up, whatever's tickling our fancy, we'll just devote these like 20, 25 minutes to it.
Yes.
But yeah, well, that wraps it up. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.